Well, my name's Mike Webb and I work at the University of Worcester and I teach sociology and politics and media and some other subjects like that, but I've always been very interested in writing and referencing, which is why I'm doing this.
So Mike, can you tell me what referencing means?
What referencing means is that when you're writing an academic piece like an essay or a paper, you give the precise and full details of where you got all your points from and where the information from so that people could follow it up if they want to.
Why do students need to reference?
First and foremost, because if you don't, you can be accused of cheating. That's often called plagiarism. You'd be accused of claiming that the points are yours, and actually they're not. They're based on a book or something else. So that's the first reason. But in addition, your whole essay or whatever it is you're writing will be much more valid, much more convincing if you can prove that it was actually based on somebody else's careful research.
Are there different systems of referencing?
There are. I mean, for instance, quite a common one in some parts of Britain, in some subjects, is to have a system of numbered footnotes. You get a little numbers in the text and you'll find a little list at the foot of the page or at the end of the assignment where you'll find all the details. But by far the most common system around the world is the Harvard system of referencing.
Are there advantages then of using the Harvard referencing system?
There are. I mean, not only do people understand it quite commonly, but also it's quite nice because it gives you a little bit of information in the text itself as you're reading along, you know, perhaps the name of the author and what the year was that this is based on, but all the other details put at the end in a list of references so they don't intrude upon your page, don't intrude upon your reading. That's quite a nice advantage.
So how do students begin?
Well, the first thing they need to do is, well before you actually write the paper or the essay, while you are making notes for it, you need to record all the information you're going to need for the referencing. That means full details of the source and the page numbers that you're basing your argument on. There's nothing worse than coming to write an essay and finding that you haven't got that information and you've now got to spend hours hunting through the library to discover where it was that you found it.
And what kind of things should students use as sources?
Well, what they commonly need to use is academic books and academic articles, for example, in journals. There'll also be material on the web that we can use, certain types of material anyway. For certain assignments you might find you need to use other things, newspaper articles and so on, but you'll often be guided by that by a tutor.
What web pages can students use? For example, can they use Wikipedia?
The web pages that they need to use normally are valid, authoritative, usually refereed web pages. You know, somebody looked at them and said that this is valid, or at least it's ones that the students can trust. For instance, you know that it comes from an organisation who you think has a good reputation working in your area. And that's the trouble with websites like Wikipedia. Anybody can put things on Wikipedia, so you don't really know whether it is an authoritative comment that you're reading or not. It might be a point from a crank that just hasn't got deleted at the time you happen to write it. So yeah, use Wikipedia to look for background ideas, but don't use it as an authoritative source. Don't cite it in your reference.
If students are referencing something, what should they do first? Write its entry in the list of references or write the reference in the text?
Definitely write it in the list of references at the end. The reason is that what you put in the text is based on the entry in the list of references at the end, so you need to get the entry in the list of references right first, and then doing the bit in the text will be easy later on.
So what goes in the list of references? For example, can they put books they've used as general background reading?
No, I'd actually even put as a heading of the list of references, or maybe even list of sources cited in the text, because that's what it should be. It should be things that you have used carefully in compiling your assignment or your paper. If you do background reading, by all means do that, but you don't list it at the end. It's almost bogus to claim that you've actually used it when you haven't really used any points from it.
So if a student is entering something in the list of references, how do they know what to put?
Well, I can give you some general principles, but I think the important thing is that you need to find a good authoritative source of guidance to follow. And for example, most universities will issue one, or perhaps your course might issue one, but if not, there are various ones on the web. In other words, it'll give you a step-by-step guide to exactly how you reference each different type of material, although understanding the principles is important as well.